IVM.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money. As we go into God knows what week of the lockdown, we've been trying to make sure that we get as much content out to you as possible. We had some interesting episodes in the last week. Cyrus Says we had Angad Singh Ranyal on it. That was a fun episode to listen to. On the Filter Coffee podcast, we had Taslima Nasleen and Arunav Sinha on that. That was another great conversation. Karthik Srinivasan joined Varun on advertising instead. And guys, look for Pratik Oswal on Paisa Vaisa podcast with Anupam Gupta. That was another great episode. I'd also like to let people know that the show that we're doing with Mr. Ashish Vidyarthi, Begin the Journey, is now going to be releasing 3 times a week. So do check that out. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. And let's get started with your show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Simblified, your weekly show where we try to deconstruct the world around us in language that you can understand. Of your 4 hosts, 2 are not here right now as we are playing our usual game of what's that? Passing the parcel? Is that musical chess?
Tossing the hot potato. Hot potato.
Whatever. Mixed up everything. We are going to do a little bit. We are going to be doing a series on the virus, obviously, because that's all anyone can talk about. But we won't be talking about the news. Obviously, we are going to be simplifying, as they say, other topics around. And this week, we actually have a guest. We haven't had a guest on to the show for a long time, right? Yeah, I don't remember the last time we actually.
Yeah, I mean, this was. It was PC days, pre-COVID days. the good old days. Nostalgic. Yeah, I can't believe you're feeling nostalgic for first week of March. That's how bad things are. All the May the 4th jokes have been made.
Okay. So today we are going to talk. So this is something that I've been wanting to do on Simplified for a long time, and I'm I shouldn't be saying glad, but the coronavirus has given us the perfect opportunity rather to do this. We are talking to Pooja and Paritosh from Feeding From Far, which is a community kitchen that delivers lunch and dinner to communities in Eastern Mumbai. Paritosh, Pooja, hi, welcome on to our little show.
Hi, Chuck. Hi, Shikit.
Hi, welcome,
this
guys.
is the first guest episode that we are doing remotely. So, I guess you guys are part of Simplified folklore now. That is anything to know about.
History.
Like you had a choice. Like you had a choice, Chuck.
There is a connection which I've been taunting Sriket with all week that Paritosh has with Sriket. So Paritosh used to work at OML, and Paritosh was a guy, skinny, who was responsible for you meeting Steven Wilson.
Okay.
Yes,
wow. Oh my God. This is the man I owe everything to.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, Paritosh, we met, we kind of met before I met Steven Wilson. I think I was supposed to meet you and we kind of in passing met.
That is correct. That is correct. Paritosh, just to let you know what our man did with that opportunity, I told him to go and tell Steven.
Oh God.
That is, my favorite work of yours is the production work that you did on Opeth's Blackwater Park. Our genius here goes and tells Steven Wilson, my friend told me to tell you that he loves your work with Dream Theatre.
Okay, so in my defense, okay. Steven Wilson's great. He started Porcupine Tree. All that's great about that. But I mean, to be honest, my interest of Steven Wilson is practically only limited to Porcupine Tree and some of his solo work. So, and I neither listen to Dream Theatre nor Opeth, and I frequently confuse the both. So I proceed.
Yeah.
So when I told him that, he looked just little puzzled and confused and moved on really quickly.
And we are not as puzzled and confused as our listeners will be as we segue from prog metal to community kitchens.
So, I'll actually like to just increase your defense by saying that there's a separate fan following for Porcupine Tree and a separate fan following for Steven Wilson. So you're not very far. You have a fan following that you're part of already.
All right, fair enough. I think we should all.
I think both fan bases aren't fond of each other.
Okay. This is another discussion for another day. Let's get back to. So, firstly, guys, it's amazing, like the work, your work you're doing. So, just first off, hats off to you for that. I saw the interview that you, Paritosh, gave to one of the channels. I think Mirror Now it was, and you said that you raised a crazy amount of money in like 4 days or something. And I'm sure that things have changed since then. So why don't you guys just start off telling us what you do? Your organization's name is called Feeding from Far. Nice name. So can you just walk us through what you do, how it started, the whole hog basically?
Sure. So I would want Pooja to come in whenever she feels I'm going haywire, because that's generally what I do in terms of explaining things passionately.
That's how we do calls.
Yeah. So basically, like everyone else in Bombay today, I'm talking about a certain privileged class who is stuck at home and who can afford the quote-unquote holiday that we're having. I am a restaurateur by profession. I run 3 cafes in Navi Mumbai, which is a satellite city to Mumbai. And I mean, like the restaurants are shut, so we're all at work, at home, and we're all showing off our kitchen skills. We're going live on Facebook, saying this is what we can do. And
Paritosh is dropping social truth bombs while we are.
Subtle guilt.
No. There's a lot of conflict that I have, so that's all going to come out maybe in the span of next 30 minutes. But yes, in general, we are showing off the kind of things that we are doing. And I was in general talking to a lot of my friends saying that the system is not doing enough. Everyone's really confused on how to manage this situation. And obviously, I was kind of reading a lot about people who are like daily wagers, who don't have a source of income or any concept of savings, right? How are they going to be surviving in this whole system? And let's face it, our lockdown was very unplanned. A lot of things that are happening right now are unplanned, and the government is trying its best to really cope with the situation. One thing that struck me was that one of my friends, he said that, stop blaming the system. Let's just do what we can do let's do our bit. And that was like the inception of even the thought of putting together something that we've reached. We'll come to that later. I was baking pav. Pav is bread. It's the staple diet for a lot of people. And while, like baking and showing off my skills, that thought came into my head, started bothering me, saying, I really am not doing enough. So I put up a photo, Instagrammed it, like we say it. And the whole caption had hardly anything about the pav and how it's made, etc. It was just me, like in an emotional, bowl out by talking about, hey, I'm not doing enough. Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And I just ended up that post by saying that, I have this idea in my head. It's very vague. It's half-baked right now. But let's bake a community kitchen. Let's put together a kitchen which is run by a particular community. And they should be the ones deciding who are the beneficiaries. So obviously, if we're talking about beneficiaries, talking about cooked meals, it has to be a place where significantly, for the lack of a better word, downtrodden people are staying, and they understand the concept of staying hungry all night due to extreme forms of poverty. So that's it. I mean, that was just one post, and in the end, I just ended up saying that, are you guys with me? Who is there with me? Are we all in this together? Kind of a situation. And that's it. People started tagging each other. The first person who still stuck to the project and without which we couldn't have done where we are, where we've reached till now, is Pooja Reddy, the other one online. We were in school together. We are schoolmates. Very interesting story between me and Pooja also. I started school.
We both have different versions, by the way. The more fun version.
So I started school in KVIIT Powai. It's a government school run by the central government. I started in 3rd standard, and after a month of, and that's when me and Pooja were classmates. Mm-hmm. After a month of completing third standard, I got a call from my principal saying that you have to go to second standard. So I got a demotion in my third standard. Yeah. And since then, for no reason, Pooja is my senior, right? 1 year senior. So yeah, she's been my 1 year senior throughout school, and we have done a bunch of things in school. So that's how me and Pooja are friends since those golden days. And that's it. That's after that, it was this like bare necessity that we came together for saying that, hey, whatever we're planning to do, let's do it together, and that's it. That's how it came together. By the way, I didn't want this to be a name, but Pooja provoked me saying, no, it has to be a name. How are we going to bring together people? How are we going to associate people with what we're thinking? It has to be something. So that's how, there even is a name of Feeding from Pars. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And this post that you're talking about, I'm seeing it. You posted on March 26th, which wasn't actually
26th night at 11 o'clock.
Jeez, and already a lot has happened. So that's awesome. So what's happened since then? Ever since this POW post, clearly you haven't had any other Instagram post since then. So I'm guessing you've been kept busy.
Yes.
Making other stuff beyond POW.
So yeah, what's happened since then?
Yeah, so what interestingly happened was 26th morning, in fact, I was having this whole conversation with my husband saying how useless I feel because courts are shut. Yeah. And I feel like I'm not doing anything except the household chores or whatever, doing stuff for mom or whatever. And I was telling him how cool it would be if we could travel right now, which is the stupidest thing I could have said to him. And evening, my man Paritosh posts this whole thing, and it was just the way he wrote he poured his heart out. And I was like, yes, this needs to be done. This is awesome. I hope he lets me, be a part of this. So I texted him saying, hey, this sounds good. How can I help? And I went to bed. The reason why I remember it was 11 in the night was that was the last text I did that day. I sent him the text and I went to bed, and 27th morning, Paritosh in his, in his style that we all know, he texted saying ki, "Arey, awesome. So we need funds, we need this, we need that, we need this." And he had a whole list of things that he wanted to get done. And it's just amazing to have someone have such a clear vision, because then you get really motivated to do things because this is going to be something amazing. And so 27th and 28th, I think we just were focusing on two things. One is how and where to set up the kitchen and how to let it function. And the second was funds, because neither of us are that rich. We need other people to chip in. So Paritosh took care of figuring out where to set up the kitchen, who to work with, how to get the volunteers and food and stuff, because he has a background. He knows food. And he said, "Paisa chahiye." So I started asking people for money. And it was so hilarious because at that point of time, we didn't have a kitchen. We didn't have a list of people that we wanted to, serve. We didn't have the entire plan in place, but I just started making calls to friends and family. So did Paritosh. And by 29th, we were able to raise 19 lakhs.
Whoa, that's incredible.
And and I think much of the credit goes to the vision that this guy had, because he knew exactly what he wanted to do, how he wanted to get there. He may not have had the resources from day one, but he knew ki karna kya hai. I think because we had that in place, our conversation with people who could be possible donors became that much more powerful, because we were able to tell them ki ye karna hai, and because people knew us, they trusted us or whatever. They donated. And I think the most surprising donation came from the Bar Association of Bombay. So wow. The advocates, that I work with day in, day out, these guys are all tax lawyers in Bombay. And they cumulatively accumulated around 12 lakhs.
Wow.
Within like a day and a half, which was, I think, the most surprising donation, because I did not expect anything from that group. But that was a lot.
No, I think things like these have a good time for like people to reflect on how much value they're actually adding, and then is there anything we can give back. Like I know there are more than one a person who's worked in things like venture capital that I know, like proper high-paying, rich
Right.
jobs, and after 5 years they can't take it anymore, and all of them are in social service now.
True, because you end up having this existential crisis ki what
Yeah.
kind of a race am I in, and what is
Yeah.
the end, what goal am I reaching? And I think that is why this project has been how much of a success we've gotten in the past 2 weeks. It's happened because we've given people a link, people who have the money, who have the resources, and who want to help, but they don't know how to help, whom to help, and how to get there. So this project has provided a link between these two sectors of the society. That's the reason why we've been able to function, I believe.
Yeah, and I think, it's a bad joke, as you should expect on the show, but the just link in the sense, hyperlink itself was there for people to go and see what was happening, what is there, and importantly, where to donate. That I've seen, again, like over the last few weeks, I've seen so many people say, okay, we are doing this, the cause is great, but then how to donate, etc., became a problem. Like, oh, okay, I'll find somebody's GPay address or something like that, and then it goes up somewhere else. So I think, I hate to put this in a customer journey hit, but the path to purchase needs to be simple, remove barriers and all that.
True, and I think the biggest factor here plays is trust, because people who are donating want to know where their money is going.
Yeah.
So
how do you guys solve for that? So how do you guys solve for that? So that's absolutely true. How do you like solve for that problem?
Actually, major donors have been people who've known Paritosh and I separately, because this is not our first project individually. Like, we've done projects before individually. He's done his own thing. I've done my own thing. And so we've each interacted with different people in the society. So we have gotten a large amount of funding from people who've known us, seen our work individually, and trusted us. And then later what we did was we took on a community partner to reach out to a larger audience. So we took the Rotary Club of Bombay Powai, which has an ATG certificate. So what happens automatically is, if people don't know us but want to donate, now they've gotten some sort of assurance that, okay, there is a NGO that is recognized, and this NGO has an ATG certificate, which means it will get audited. And so therefore we know that ye gadbad nahi hone wala hai. And that is what motivates people. Even if they're donating like a small amount, big amount, whatever amount it is, they get that sort of sense of assurance.
So that's very interesting, actually, because that's what I was thinking. I mean, when you were telling me about how when you called up when Paritosh called you the next day after you reached out to him, he had this itemized list of stuff that he needed. So I think that kind of made the two components of what is required to make anything successful. One is that you need credibility, which is through your personal personal profiles, as well as your as well as that ATG certificate. But it also requires like a structure. You need people who want to kind of buy into something that is structured and clear and well communicated. So I mean, so I think those are the two big wins that you guys did, and you guys kind of very seamlessly pulled it off. And that's why I feel you guys were a great team, with Paritosh having the background of actually doing the feeding, and you actually bringing the whole thing together from a structural point of view.
Totally.
It's actually a very household type setup. I mean, since you mentioned that this podcast simplifies things, it's a very household type setup, where in a married couple, one gets the bread, the one is a breadwinner and the other makes the bread. So I think that is sort of like an analogy here, I guess, if you want to put it.
No, so totally. That's fantastic. So can you tell us a bit about your setup? How does the process exactly work?
So Paritosh would explain this better because he's on ground.
Yeah.
All right. So in fact, as we speak, I am just about 200 meters from the kitchen. Okay. Excellent. Let me just build it up for you guys. So we started with the first 19 lakhs that we started with. The first idea, and we are sticking to that idea, was that if we decide on, let's say, X amount of people that we are feeding, we should be deciding that only once we know that we can feed them till the end of the lockdown. At that point of time, the end of the lockdown was till the 14th. Now it's extended till the 3rd of May.
Right.
But at that point of time, we said, okay, so let's start with, so that number came, 2000 was the number. We started with 2000 people. So that's 2000 lunch and 2000 dinner. Okay. we started the first day with that number. And I always also wanted it to be a system that is scalable. I also wanted it to be sustainable. I wanted it something that can be implemented by volunteers who have never worked in a kitchen or haven't worked in such a like a COVID level relief program, right?
Right.
And it has to be easily implementable and scalable. So that's when that was the basis that I found and started back calculating from there. So it has to be nutritious meals, but it has to be dry because we want to serve it in paper. We don't want to use plastic because we're starting with 4,000 meals a day. We envision it to be 10,000 in the same kitchen and hope to like scale it to 50,000 lunch and 50,000 dinner. That's a lakh meals, in a day.
Every day.
It has to be up every day. It has to be plastic free because that's the last thing we want to do, like generate plastic here. It has to be nutritious food. So that's it. And then we started putting the resources to the place that we finally decided. It's a small plot in a place called Beganwadi, which is a small place in the bigger slum called Govandi. Govandi is actually a slum bigger than Dharavi. The person to space density, a lot of people don't know that. Dharavi is like the page 3 slum, I would say. Yeah, absolutely.
Let me say that I've never heard Dharavi being described in that fashion before.
But it is.
Yeah.
It
It's the
absolutely
mainstream
is.
slum. Govandi is like the cult slum.
Because this area
Is the indie slum.
In the indie slum, yeah. It's the slum that plays at Weekender.
Yeah, I can't believe we are discussing this. At least one of us is going to hell.
Oh God.
Yeah, Pari, sorry.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, so we're right. Beganwadi is right beside the oldest and the biggest waste dumping ground of Bombay.
Deonar.
Okay. Yeah. Deonar is actually another section. Beganwadi Govandi. So it starts with Beganwadi Govandi and then it extends to Deonar later. So we are right. Like I can, while talking to you, I'm just like looking at the huge mountain just about 300 meters from me. So it's I mean, basic things like we need a concentration of volunteers for pulling off that level. You need them to be convinced about each other and the fact that we're going to be doing such a big operation.
Right.
And obviously I needed at least a day or two to understand who are these people, who are the ones responsible, what are the kind of departments we have to make, what are the problems that I can foresee, and then finally like implement all those things and then start afresh. So that's it. We started one day. That was like our R&D investment, I would say. We went, we said that, hey, this is the money, this is the equipment, this is the food. What do you guys do with this? Okay. And that's it. It was complete chaos. Imagine about like 60 high-end individuals really out there to change the world, but have no idea about COVID, have no idea about cleanliness, sanitization, about what we want to really do ahead, etc., etc. But all of them had this really burning desire to do something for their own community. Over here, even for the rest of the podcast, community is not a religion. Community is just people living together, right? Over here.
Yeah.
Right. So that's it. We started, first day was complete chaos. Everyone is running around here and there. The people who are packaging are the same guys who are delivering, are the same guys who are doing security of the same place. Every second person is taunting the person who's running the kitchen. Arey, aise mat khana bana. Arey, aise mat kar. Imagine the amount of inputs that poor fellow has to do. And
literally too many cooks.
Yeah.
Finally, you got a chance to use it in real life.
Yeah, I know.
Like we're waiting your life.
I know, man.
Now waiting for milk to spill.
I'm sure that must have happened as well.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, Pari. We're going to keep interrupting you with our.
Absolutely. Milk is very expensive, so that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So food had to be nutritious and had to be dry. So the composition of our meal is 50% of potatoes, 20% of vegetables, 20% of pulses, and the rest 10% is fats and flavors. So
Okay.
just envision like a normal evening meal in your house where you have chawal, dal, roti, sabji, salad. You have to figure out all those nutrition in a setup like this.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I started with a dry sabji and planned for like puris because it's dry, so it's easily packable. But we had a bakery that came forward. That bakery has a huge capacity. To give you a sneak peek to the end of the what we are coming to, we right now is producing 40,000 pounds a day. That same bakery, yeah. So that's it. So so the menu was clear in my head. So I back calculated with what is going to be required for 4,000 meals till the 14th of this month. How much is it going to cost? And just blurted out that number shamelessly to Pooja, saying that hey, we need this amount of money, and figure it out how you're going to get that, right? And that's it. After that, putting I put together about 10 people, 10 individuals. They have to be not just in a commanding position, but also have to be like physically strong to be able to shout to, let's say, 25, 30 young boys, to be able to, like, over here, seniority is just how, how commanding you can be in terms of shouting at each other. That's seniority, clear.
Right.
So I figured out that there has to be a packaging department, there has to be a kitchen department, a security department, and a separate delivery team.
Right.
Okay, all of them have to be intermingled. They should be knowing who they are reporting to, but none of them have to really physically be close to each other, because we have to, in a COVID situation, they can't be like really going and working together. I mean, the kitchen was so bad that everyone was used to like chill together in the evening as if nothing is wrong in the world, right? And so we figured out like those compartments, made like team leaders, and for 2 nights we didn't serve anything. It was just putting together these systems. They identified the people that they have to work under. So let's say packaging team in the beginning had to have 30 members under him. The security guy had to be 20 boys. It's a complete like slum, and the slum has a lot of small entries to the same place that lead to the same place, right? So we had to identify people sitting in these all these entries to the kitchen, and those people have to be people who are staying around. So they identify that this person stays here, so you are allowed to go.
Wow.
But we don't have like a barcode here, dude. So no RFID. It's complete like social trust that Yuval says. We're actually implementing it here, and and so that's the security team. The delivery team is the most exciting team. It's about 13 young boys led by one boy. These 13 young boys are in Activas, okay, and they are the ones actually going and delivering it to a certain set of people that I'm going to come to later. Packaging team are guys who we have in a particular WhatsApp group. We give them an intimation that, hey, today the lunch will be prepared at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock because, sometimes the timings change due to availability of stock and, what is the labor situation that day, etc.
Right.
And they are supposed to leave their houses only during that time. So they are in their houses. As soon as we message saying, hey, today 12:30, you guys have to reach here. So 12:30, all of them queue up outside the kitchen. There is a bouncer standing, a 6 feet tall bouncer standing, this time not with anything else but liquid soap in his hand. Okay. And he forcibly, like, whoever is entering, however big in the seniority, however known in the area, however big the neta is, if you are entering that kitchen, this person forcibly puts liquid soap in your hand. So that the next step is to go to the wash basin that is in the beginning of the kitchen to have to wash your hand with soap. There is no way out. How much ever bigger of a rebel you are, 99% of the time you will go and wash your hand with soap because you have like liquid soap in your hand. What else do you have to do with it? Right?
Yeah.
That's
so,
it.
So that leads me on to an interesting angle, is that across the entire process, and this is just one aspect of entering the kitchen and stuff, but there is a requirement of kind of following social distancing norms across all your different departments, right?
Yes.
So and hygiene norms and social distancing norms, even in like the kitchen and preparation areas to like how the food is being packaged to all of that stuff. In fact, one of the, of course, this is being done across, I think Swiggy is doing this right now, where they're putting the temperature of the chef and the temperature of the delivery guy as stickers on top of the food containers that they are delivering. So, yeah, so this is really interesting. I saw this picture that came across somewhere. So, from this, are you consulting with like some medical professionals, or are you guys like doing this where you're looking at every process and instituting social distancing norms yourself?
See, the second one mainly.
I think most of the norms are laid out very clearly by WHO on the on their website, and I think as a rule, I think all of us should follow it. Preferably even after lockdown. I love the concept of social distancing, but. I think most of this Paritosh did get into place from day one. And like he mentioned, day one was chaotic. And one of the other things that helped, that is even with the beneficiaries, that is the people who are receiving the food. Because like he mentioned, once you set up a kitchen and food is available, 20 people will obviously come. Curiosity to pata chala ki food hai, so we want the food. So very begrudgingly, we had to tell people, if you stay indoors, we'll give you food. If you come out, we can't. So that helped with keeping a lot of the people indoors. And about washing hands or using gloves or masks or, just keeping yourself covered, I guess, all the time, has been, again, whatever knowledge we have from the WHO websites or whatever little knowledge that we had. One more thing, I know Paritosh is probably going to hate me for saying this, but he has gone around telling every volunteer, the kitchen staff, packaging guys, delivery guys, everybody, लोगों को खाना देना है, corona नहीं देना है. He has said this to everybody. I think he's parroted it to everyone who's worked at the kitchen till date.
That's great. And it's incredible that, it's a credit to the WHO as well as a credit to you guys that, it's that chain of knowledge, right? Like, you can have hands and legs and people who are actually very willing and eager, but in their eagerness, you end up like kind of exacerbating the problem rather than solving one. And it's very important that you kind of have this the cool head that kind of pushes the necessary information through. So I think that's great on your part. So again, and the other part that I wanted to ask about your particular process is that what is the what's your delivery, like what's your how are you selecting the sample of people that you're delivering to? Like, how do you identify the people who are the most needy?
I'll tell you. So we have divided the whole of Govandi into 40 different like sub-zones. Okay. These are 40 volunteers that are living in the locality. Okay. All right. And these are people who are either like social service people, or they are people who are anyway running kitchens for, let's say, about 50 people or 100 people, because they knew who are the needy people in their particular area. So we have identified 40 such people. Okay. And the delivery team that I was talking about in Activas, their work right now is to deliver the packages of food to 40 different people. So they are waiting at the beginning of their gully for this person to come in huge blue bags and give it to them. And that's it. They will first go home, wash their hands, and then they have 2-3 people who home deliver it to these people. So see, there are two ways to make this 100%. We are following the second way. The first way, of course, is to go the detailed process of going to the government website or taking the data from the government saying who are below poverty line, and try and understand. But right now, I think the second option is what we are following is that let the locality or let the community decide, okay, who are the people needy, okay, and let them just come up with a number. Let them come up saying, I need 300 packets to be delivered to me, and I will make sure that it goes to needy people. Also, we're talking about cooked food. We're not talking about ration that can be hoarded, or we're not talking about something that has a possibility of it's got an expiry date. It's food that is it can just go bad anytime. So we make sure it's reaching the needy people that way. Plus, we are doing our way of inspection, because what we've told is that as soon as you're delivering the food, make a small video and put it on the WhatsApp groups. So obviously, when everyone will not be following it because everyone is in a hurry throughout because they are under pressure from all these needy people saying that aaj kam aaya nahi, kya time ho gaya, 1:30 ho gaya, 2 o'clock ho gaya, whatever. But
Right.
in general, we get at least 1 or 2 videos from every region every day. Just try to understand who are these people. Apart from that, we also want to bridge that gap between our donors. So we make sure we go with a camera team on ground and take like live footage of people who are the ones actually getting benefited. And so that, we, increasingly, now we are crowdfunding. Now it's not friends and family anymore. Now we are all out over there going on social media. So we have to be absolutely crystal clear over there. That's one constant pressure that we have that, we believe in what we are doing and we have complete honesty in what we are doing. But the outside world has to really see it. Like it has to be visual enough for them to have this trust that, hey, this is what, these are the beneficiaries that it's reaching to. Also, if you see Yuval's latest article, okay, I'm going to quote him again and again because I'm a big Yuval fan. But
of course,
I love how you're just using first
I know
name.
it's like
First name basis. Yeah.
Paritosh,
like
what else do you expect?
I know. अरे वो स्टीवन भाऊ है ना अपना दोस्त है.
Yuval just came up with an article recently in Financial Times, and he was talking about the post-corona world.
Sorry, just because in the interest of this podcast being simplified, Yuval is Yuval Noah Harari, the author of *Sapiens*, Homo Deus, and 21 something of the 21st century.
Yeah. Basically, the guy who knows. Basically, he's the only guy on the planet who knows whether we are going to be screwed or not at the end of this, but he's not telling us.
Yeah.
Given all the powers in the world, I really hope he writes the New World Order. I give him that command. But anyway, so he said that, the best way right now for even governments or societies to function is a large amount of trust that they have, because we have as a society, we have hit rock bottom right now. Okay. None of us have an idea. We all have assumptions on how is the post-corona or post-COVID world going to be. Today, I read an article that social distancing has to be followed till 2022.
Yeah, there's a Guardian article about that. Yeah.
Correct. So we have no idea. So right now, it's very important as humans, we trust each other. So as much as I, put these systems or enforce them, I want them to realize that in the end, I'm trusting you with these 60 or 100 packets. I'm trusting you that, it's going to reach the most needy right now at this situation. Interestingly, the people who are the volunteers or running the kitchen right now are also not in a great financial position. They are on an average earning, let's say, 6,000 to 10,000 rupees a month and feeding a family of 6, 7 in their house. So you can understand where they are. And if they themselves are the one deciding who the needy, quote unquote, people are in their area, then we can have an understanding that, we've talked to rag pickers, we've talked to beggars, we've talked to people staying beside highways, okay? We've talked to people who don't have like pakka houses. We talk to people, so there is no extent to, in fact, you can go to the Keto page, in fact, to the audience also, and check out the video that we have put for our donation. We're really trying to start from the bottom and hopefully go a little more, before the bottom. But I really hope things are going better because trust me, like shit is going to hit the roof very soon. There are 2 banks in my area where I am right now already looted. We're talking about police being attacked over here. Social distancing is absolutely a myth over here. As soon as the sun goes down, let's about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, everyone are out of their houses because the houses are so small. We're talking about a 10 by 10 house with like 13, 14 people sleeping there. It's physically not possible for them to, stay in their house for 24 hours. Yeah, absolutely not. We need to call the army out here if at all, to really maintain what we're trying to maintain in gated societies in Bombay.
Right.
Wow, that's pretty, that's pretty big. But what I like about what you said is you painted a picture of there's so much hope and optimism, but at the same time, there's also like this huge cloud of don't forget, like a good dose of reality actually.
Yes.
In that, yeah, and I think that's the biggest. That's a big challenge. So one question I have, and is Paritosh. So you spoke a lot about the whole process and how it happens, and that sounds great. Like, how do you just start? Like, okay, fine, you got like an idea of what you want to do. You got an idea in terms of the menu. You even got an idea in terms of funding, etc. Once you land up in a play like a Govandi or something, like then what? Like how do you like what's the first step? Like who do you speak to over there? Do you just knock on doors and figure it out? Like how do you do that?
See, I would suggest very simply, first you have to have that thought and it has to be really pure in your head that, yeah, I want to do something. And that's it. After that, people genuinely, and I am really a believer of this because I've experienced this in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We have completed feeding more than 110,000 meals since yesterday.
Yeah.
And as we speak, we are serving the next 10,000. It wouldn't have been possible without people like really coming together. I had no clue Pooja would come and implement so many of our systems on ground and fill so many gaps that we have here in terms of fundraising. The kind of people that I've met on ground also, they just have to be convinced about your thought. And after that, every small problem, they have a solution for it. And you start putting together solutions for it. I can go on and on about the kind of small problems that we face. The bouncer coming on ground, again, I told you, is a problem that I face, saying that, the only person or only people that they are, like they being people around are scared, are like people who are looking physically intimidating, as simple as that.
Yeah.
Right. We have to just start from there. There are small problems that will come throughout, and it'll just your thought has to be pure. You will definitely come together. The people will come together. Just that's a very broader answer. To be a little more specific, as I said, I went on ground with this gut feeling. Obviously, I was contacting. I was completely in touch with them through video calls for the first 2 days. They were showing me, hey, this is what we can do. And
But who is them? Who is them over here? When you say when you
the local NGO.
Yeah, they are. There's this NGO called Ekta Naujawan Committee. Okay. They are the ones who are the volunteers. They are the ones who own the land where we are running this kitchen, etc. I knew 2 individuals from there, and I've worked with them before. So that's it. It started. I talked to them. They were convinced that, hey, we can do it, etc., etc. They were convincing me, in fact, saying that, hey, this can be the kitchen, this can be this can be that. And I used to just show them a very skeptical face throughout, so that they just like pushing harder to convince me, saying that no, it is possible, etc., etc. And we were coordinating on video calls throughout because I wanted to be damn sure before even stepping out of my house that I am going and implementing something really legit. And obviously, day one, I didn't have a police pass. So the first thing I did was that once I was convinced that this is really happening, I started calling Pooja, saying, Pooja, you're a lawyer. Do you know someone in the police? I really need a e-pass to get out of my house legally, And I have never seen a curfew in my life, ever. And the roads are apocalyptic right now. It's so bad. I go from Powai to, let's say, Malad or Govandi, and I literally get like 3-4 cars passing by throughout. That's it. The roads are absolutely empty. So that's it. I mean, so problems came by. We just started putting together solutions, and we had the bigger picture in our head very clear that this is where we want to reach with 2,000 meals. Only then will we go live. And I also wanted to document this throughout. And kudos to Pooja convincing Pavneet Sidhu, our other partner in crime, to really. He's also a school friend. He is a DOP. Okay, he's a cinematographer himself. He runs this page called I Love Mumbai on Facebook, and he's put together these small
clips
Mumbai heroes.
And videos.
Yeah. So he's the one who actually also came on ground with us and just trusted our instincts with what we are doing. And I wanted to document the whole process of starting from 0 to 2,000 people and 5,000 people right now. Right. Amazing. So we've documented that so that we can further, prove it to the larger audience that, we have done this for 2,000 people. Give us money to make it 5,000 and 10,000 and hopefully 50,000 tomorrow.
Right.
And, just to quickly chime in here, he mentioned Pavneet, and Pavneet did come. He used to come to the kitchen every single day. document everything, right from the briefing to food being prepared to packed, delivered, and everything. Got bites from everybody. And about a week ago, this guy said that he was feeling ill. He had a stomach ache and all that. He worked through pain of an appendicitis for a day and a half.
Wow.
And the next evening, after he delivered the video, he said he was going to finish and deliver. After that, he went and quietly got admitted to the hospital, got a surgery the next day, and it was extremely inflamed. So why I'm mentioning this is earlier you asked, how did you know this was going to happen? I think for Paritosh individually also, and for me and for both of us when we started this, generally people underestimate the power of a human's conscience and the sense of humanity. People, once they see something is happening, which is going to help a lot of people, they want to help. They just need to find a structured way to get there. And if you're able to show them, ki, boss, if you do this, your part will help these many people. If you're able to structure it in that conversation in that manner, I think they want to just jump in and do everything that they can. And in the past week, I think this has been going on for 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. But in the past week, Paritosh has pulled in so many people. Now we have different teams. Pehle then it was just me and Paritosh, 2 people. Then Pavneet joined. And after that, now we have teams. We have people who are doing the digital, people who are doing the creators, people who are helping us post on social media. So there are so many people working on this project from home that is incredible. People have overcome their personal issues, personal problems, people who are doing their regular jobs and doing this. So I think it's just the power of sense of community. I think the entire kitchen is based on a sense of community in Govandi among the people who are living there, and a sense of community in different parts of Bombay. So right now, if you look at the volunteers who are in place, if we actually sit and see their backgrounds or whatever, a lot of people have never met each other, but they're working together. A lot of people have never worked together before until now. And so I think that is the biggest motivation, that if so many people are coming together for your cause, something that you started about 2 weeks ago, then this is worth seeing through,
Yeah,
you have a responsibility towards them.
Yeah, this is the most uplifting conversation I've had in the last 2 weeks. I just want to hear you guys just keep talking on and on before Paritosh drops another truth bomb of reality. No, but I'm sure that will happen. But this is amazing. Like, this is the work you guys are doing. Like, is like at a time like this, going out there and actually one having the idea, of course, which would be admirable at any point of time. But especially so at a time like this, and using all your power to mobilize the community, I think that's absolutely amazing. So what now? What's next? What can people do to help you guys?
Donate.
All that. Donate, yes.
Donate, yes.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's the only way we can. Yeah. That's the only way we can scale, because, like Paritosh mentioned, we have Ekta Naujawan Committee guys doing all the groundwork, and over a period of time, after the thorough training and constant reminders that, these are the protocols you need to follow and all of that, things have fallen into place. And now those guys are so motivated to reach more people. So the idea has always been 2,000, scale to 3,000, scale to 5,000, now to scale to 10,000, and then scale to 50,000 people. But till the end of the lockdown, we don't want to scale from 5,000 to 10,000 and then tomorrow feel like, now we don't have the funds, so we need to scale back, because that is just wrong, because you can't extend help halfway and then back off. We need funds. We need funds more than anything else right now.
Fair enough, and we'll do our bit by putting the link in our show notes.
Thank
and
you so much.
That's the least we can do. I mean, we'll have to do it in any case.
Thank you so much.
Because we are speaking to you. But that's amazing. Like, this is absolutely, Shrikes, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so, I mean, would you want to talk about ways people can contribute? I mean, I know it's about donating, but what are the different avenues of donating? What are the different places you're accepting donations?
Keto for one, which I've seen.
Keto for one, for sure. But we're also looking at getting in place masks, gloves, sanitizers, which are absolutely necessary on ground. I think a lot of time, because we didn't see what happens is right now when we get the funds, right, we look at each rupee. We look at 30 rupees. We say, yaar, ye ek meal ho gaya kisi ke liye.
Right.
So we don't want to take away from that. So there are people who do want to come forward and donate in kind. And if that is something that people are interested in, these are the things that we need. Apart from this, we need outreach. I mean, if one person shares to 3 people, those 3 people may donate, they may share to more. I think that is the most powerful sort of help that people can do, and they don't realize often that this could help. That is extremely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on somebody else's profile, ended up on Paritosh, and today we are talking, and hopefully, I mean, through our little show, if at least 5 more people get to hear about this, then that itself would be amazing.
Right.
This is really cool. Sorry, Shrikit, you want to ask anything else, or?
Yeah. So I mean, mainly, I mean, this is again just like Chuck said. I think it's one of the most. It's one of the best interviews we've had. I mean, it definitely is something that I've been part of here because at a time like this, it's all about there are people who can praise the government, there are people who can criticize the government, and then there are people who do, right? And that's the biggest thing that you guys are actually doing, where it's very easy to point fingers or say whatever, but you're actually like doing something about it, and that's fantastic. And
hopefully that just inspires more people to do something, right? Like apart from this armchair, like sitting and writing long critiques on Facebook, and actually going out there and doing something. I mean, there's this whole thing, right? Which has been going on from a long time. Like when your kids ask you when the planet was whatever, like burning, dying, whatever, like when this thing was happening, that thing, and now of course the virus. What were you doing? I don't. Either of you are going to have any problems in answering that question.
We're just going to share your podcast link to them.
Hopefully, that's how we're remembered in history.
Right now, I just talk to my dog regularly. She's my only baby in the house right now, so that's what I tell my dog. But I think Paritosh summed it up very nicely. We'll show them the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. If that's the role that that our show plays in this whole pandemic, then I'll be more than happy. Thank you guys so much. This has actually been one of the most uplifting conversations that I've had on the whole thing, and I just keep remembering this whenever I come across like some bad news, which is pretty often actually. Thank you guys for coming on, and thank you for all you're doing.
I know you guys have been fantastic, and Paritosh, you all would be proud.
Oh yeah.
Or Stephen Bao.
Or Stephen Bao. Either way. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
See ya.
And guys, the link. The link will be in the show notes. It's Feeding from Far. Do donate to them or share, or at least share, so that more people get to hear about the work that they're doing. Every little bit helps. And we will see you guys next week with another simplified episode. Till then, stay safe, guys. See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.
Entertainment is like food for the brain. It's a window to culture and a great way to understand the world around us. The internet has changed what it means to be an entertainer, creating new storytellers with millions of fans. It has spawned a new breed, the story sellers, those behind the scenes creating the business for this ecosystem. They work with brands, platforms and channels who are keen to capitalize on an audience hungrier than ever for more stories. I'm Vineet Kanabar, and I have a ringside view to how stories are told and sold. On my show, I bring you creators, artists, executives, and marketers for a freewheeling conversation around the business of entertainment. Tune in to Storytellers and Storysellers for personal stories, analysis, and criticism every Thursdays as I talk to the brightest minds telling or selling great stories today.